Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the program Business Time. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country, and my name is William Kumwembe. In the program today, we look at prospects as tobacco market opens on Wednesday. Should we anticipate much from the market for a fix on the current acute shortage of forex in Malawi? That's the question that we have. And also in the program, Malawi Stock Exchange shows signs of sustained growth as it registers positive outturn in the first quarter of 2025. We speak with stockbrokers for an insight into the local boss's performance and outlook. Stay tuned. And welcome, this is Business Time, and we start the program with our main story today. There is hope among farmers and for a possible relief on the forex exchange situation as the 2025 tobacco selling seasons open on Wednesday. Touted as Malawi's green god, the leaf is important to the country's economy as it remains its top export crop, while earnings from the tobacco are traditionally almost equal to the country's 1 month worth of imports. The revenue remains timely as Malawi grapples with an acute forex shortage. At the onset of the tobacco selling season, the local unit, the kwacha, which has remained volatile for a greater part of the recent months, is expected to gain some footing. But for how long could this relief be? This is a question we attempt in this report, read in our studios by Mai Goero.
The wait is over. After months of toil and sweating in the field, it is now time for tobacco farmers to start reaping. This year's tobacco selling season opens on Wednesday. There is excitement from the growers who anticipate better prices. The optimism is premised on elevated demand for the leaf, seen at 213 million kilograms. This is about 22% higher than the projected market supply of 174 million kilograms this year. Last year, the average price was $2.98, up from $2.14 a year before. Also, the market has seen a new buyer entering this season, Eastbridge, the situation expected to enhance competition. Growers' representative body, Tobacco Association of Malawi, TAMA, Farmers Trust Chief Executive Officer Nixon Lita, said farmers are ready for the market. Well, opening of the market does not only mean good news to growers. It brings about a sigh of relief to the economy as tobacco remains Malawi's top export. For a while, Malawi has faced an acute shortage of forex, which has had an effect on almost all other sectors. When it starts trickling in, the tobacco dollars would help ease the pressure and bring about some level of stability to the local unit, the kwacha. Although the money from tobacco is just equal to a month's worth of Malawi's import needs, experts say it makes a difference. Last season, Malawi raked in $396.9 million from tobacco.
Now, smuggling of tobacco is one of the persistent challenges Malawi has faced in recent years. In the border districts of Mchinji and Mzimba, for instance, the malpractice is reported to be rife. The traders, most of them not registered as tobacco growers, search for high-value markets as the leaf could at the same time find it hard to find its way into the auction floors in the country. In this report, Sam Kalimira takes us to Mbalachanda in Mzimba district, where Malawi's major forex earner, tobacco, continues to be smuggled into neighboring Zambia. Sadly, as Sam reports, the most smuggled leaf is the high-graded tobacco. But what does this mean for the country as the tobacco selling season starts?
On Sunday, Times observed the situation for over 2 hours at Mbalachanda in Mzimba district. Motorbikes were seen transporting tobacco from farms to vendors who have set up makeshift markets at the trading center. The most traded leaf was fruit-cured tobacco. Anderson Tembo, a middleman, buys tobacco from local farmers and sells it to Zambian vendors, claiming the prices offered are more attractive than those at Malawi's official markets.
Foja ngati uyuyu kunoko sitimatumiza kukuja ku auction ya sitimatumiza.
We do not sell our tobacco to auction floors because they buy at lower prices unlike in Zambia. We are buying fruit-cured tobacco at 8,000 kwacha per kg here. and we sell at 2,000 kwacha or 13,000 kwacha. But at auction here, they will buy at $3, which is a 5,000 kwacha. Hence making losses.
$3 imene kunoko imene ikupanga 5,000. Ndiye kuti pamene tagulira muja tikuduka kale 3,000. Mandikunja basi. We
will continue selling to international markets for better prices. It is our plea to government to improve on farm market prices so that our precious resources should remain in the country. It is not good at all to sell our goods outside the country just because of prices. If the government improves the prices, we will be selling tobacco to the auction floors.
Another vendor, Daiman Yusufu, who had piles of fruit tobacco at his shelter, said they prefer dealing with Zambian vendors because they pay cash, unlike auction floors where payments are delayed by up to a month. Further, the vendors said selling to Malawi official markets comes with transport cost, which is high owing to the bad road network in the district.
We sell to them at 40,000 kwacha, but transporting the bales is a major headache because of the terrible state of our roads, and it's not uncommon to receive alarming calls about accidents involving our shipments.
The Tobacco Commission spokesperson, Teleforest Kumwembe, asked for more time to comment on the issue when contacted. Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture Chairperson Samia Suleiman suggested competitive prices between the auction floors and the pile market. Suleiman also suggested that the Malawi Police Service, in collaboration with soldiers from Malawi Defense Force, should help patrolling the borders and deal with the smugglers.
Let me say that every country was blessed. We have our own resources. In Malawi, we are blessed that we have a soil and there is rainfall every year. We do reap, we do farm, and get proceeds from whatever we are doing. At the moment, as you have already known, we are actually reaping from tobacco, from our maize. Tobacco brings forex to a country. If you use uncharted routes to sell tobacco by smuggling in or out of the country, you are denying the resources that the Malawi government would have obtained from selling tobacco, the foreign currency that we all need. What it means, we are losing out on forex because it was intended to benefit Malawians who are in the country, who are paying their taxes. The police has already put everything in place. We will arrest because smuggling is a crime. Smuggling is a crime, so each one of us has this duty to protect Malawi resources, to protect what belongs to us, our inheritance which God gave us. So it is our duty, all of us.
The Tobacco Commission recently said this year's trade demand is higher than expected production volumes, thereby creating an opportunity for good competition.
Continuing trends in the tobacco industry. In recent years, the industry has faced myriad shocks, including harsh weather conditions and the anti-smoking lobby advocated by the World Health Organization. These have had a knock on both output and revenue for Malawi. However, the country remains persistent, with authorities saying Malawi continue to produce tobacco until the last cigarette is smoked. For instance, the Agricultural Research and Extension Trust has said it will introduce new tobacco varieties to ensure farmers have an array of choices. As of now, there are 3 belly tobacco varieties, 6 flue-cured varieties, and 9 dark-fired tobacco. But why have these varieties not seemed to have brought the much desired revenue over time?
RH Chief Executive Officer Albert Changaya said there are a lot of varieties for berry and flue-cured tobacco which farmers can adopt. Changaya said the new varieties that might be introduced next year are going to be resistant to wilting, among other attributes.
Right now we still have the same varieties that we released, like 3 in belly, about 7 in flue-cured, 6 in flue-cured, and about 9 or so in dark-fired. But I would tell you that there are a lot of promising varieties in flu and belly, varieties that are resistant to bacterial wilt and fusarium wilt and even nematodes, and the ones that can also give a better quality. So in the near future, maybe next year or so, we'll be releasing other varieties to add onto this so that we give a farmer a wider choice in terms of what varieties they can grow. But in terms of chemicals, we have Preciva Star, which we've just released, and this Preciva Star has 2 active ingredients in there to control sucking insects as well as chewing insects. So we have released the other technologies that farmers can use.
Tama Farmers Trust President Abel Karimabanda said farmers should stick to local varieties as they have proven to be more yielding than those imported.
There is no need to import the varieties of tobacco since our own crop is doing better than maybe the imported one. So there is no need to waste our money importing other type of tobacco. I think you have seen yourself, our own crop is doing better than even the imported ones. Even at the market, we are fetching good prices, our local variety, than the one which is coming from other countries. So there is no need to import this type of tobacco since we have got our own crop that can do better than even the imported one.
85% of tobacco grown in Malawi is barley, 13% is fruit-cured, and 3% is dark-fired, according to a report by Tama Farmers Trust.
Remember, this is Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. And my name is William Kumwembe. Moving on with the program, the Malawi Stock Exchange registered exceptional performance in the first quarter of 2025. It recorded a 69.52% return on index, the highest quarterly growth in recent years. The Malawi Stock Exchange's impressive growth represents a significant milestone, particularly when compared to the modest 2.96% return on index registered in the first quarter of 2024. To review the market and give an insight in terms of prospects, Chimwemwe Mangazi caught up with market analyst Konrani Makwakwa.
The Malawi Stock Exchange has really performed well this quarter, the first quarter of 2025. If we go by the Malawi OSHA Index, a return that measures the performance of the market. So, yeah, if we go by that, we'll see that the market has really performed very well. But maybe the question would be, what is behind that? So far, we have seen increased investor participation, which is a good thing for the market. So a lot of people now have also realized the importance of investing in the stock market. If we see in the past 2023, 2024, we saw that the return that was achieved on the Malawi Stock Exchange was well above the inflation rate. And even when we had the devaluation, it was also above that. So yeah, we are having increased investor participation, all queuing for the same shares. Apart from that, you see that the performance has been attributed to the companies performing well. If we look at last year, these listed companies were releasing trading statements, which almost all were positive. And this also increased investors' confidence to say, I can put my money in these companies. And going this year, we have seen financials being released, which, yes, they're also good. And some companies are also releasing good dividends. So all these are increasing investors' confidence as they are also giving them a return that is needed. So you recall that a return for a shareholder comes in terms of share prices, which you have seen share prices are moving up, and also dividends. So basically, the first quarter has been a good quarter in terms of the market performance. Maybe now the question is the prices where they are they sustainable? So that is maybe the question we can always ask ourselves. So going forward, it will depend also with the performance of these companies. We are in April, soon in May, or is it June, we'll see companies releasing trading statements for the half year performance. So this half-year performance will also have a significant impact in terms of the market performance. And all in all, other factors also play a part, for example, the microeconomic factors. So all things being stable, if the companies continues performing well as they did in the previous year, 2025 should be another great year. Well, if we look in the past, first of all, looking at the elections, we have had elections in the past, but we didn't see the significant impact of those elections on our market. So I would still believe that those ones wouldn't have any impact. But looking at other microeconomic factors like inflation, we have also seen that our market is able to beat inflation. But yes, we do have other risks like the currency risk and other risks, which if those ones affect the stock market, most of the time it is a sector. So that is why it is always also encouraged to people to have a well-diversified portfolio. To say that if maybe one sector doesn't perform well, maybe you can be able to smile at the other sector where you invest. Oh, the debt platform, I think, has been quite. We haven't seen much on the debt platform. Well, I think the challenge has been to say that those that are holding those debt instruments are not willing to sell most of the time. Because for us to have an active market in that scenario, we need to have people willing to sell and people willing to buy. So most often there are people willing to say, can you get me this state instrument? But when you approach those that are holding, most of the time they are not. They are happy holding to their bonds. So basically, this has also affected in terms of the liquidity. But also, if we look at those instruments, most of the time now, as we rightly put, there has been appetite in terms of government borrowing. So people are able to buy those securities in the primary market rather than in the secondary market because it's like ongoing. We see those issuance or those securities more often.
The Malawi Revenue Authority has said it is optimistic of meeting the 4.3 trillion kwacha tax revenue target for the 2025-2026 national budget. In an interview with Times, MRA Commissioner General Daniel Daka said the Revenue Collection Body will put in a number of strategies to meet the target. Critics recently described the 4.33 trillion kwacha tax revenue target set by Finance Minister Simplex Chichola Banda in the 2025-2026 national budget as over-ambitious and unrealistic. Daka begins by explaining the tax revenue performance in the just ended 2024-2025 national budget.
I would say it has been a mixed bag to the extent that you have seen that the economic situation, the economic environment within which MRA has been operating hasn't been that very well. However, with regard to growth in revenue performance, we have been growing month in, month out. We have been growing revenue performance to the extent that at the time we were closing the financial year, the revenue performance grew by just above 40%, which is not a mean achievement considering the economic environment that we are in. We might have not reached or met the target that was stipulated by, that was prescribed by Parliament, by government, but we would have said that considering all efforts that we put up together, we have managed to grow the revenues by about 40%, which is not a mean achievement. Thank you so much for that question. We are putting in place a lot of targets, I mean strategies, so that we meet the target. There are a lot. One of the key strategies that we are putting together is to clean the tax register. We would want to have a tax register that is very clean, to know who is paying taxes and who are not paying taxes. At the moment, the tax register is not that clean. Once we have a clean register or have a clear view on what is our tax base, that's the first strategy. Second one, we have systems that we are bringing into place. Maybe you have heard about the electronic tax invoicing system. This is a system that would want to apply comprehensive to the extent that when, for example, an importer imports goods, at the moment they arrive at the border, the data with regard to such import is already captured to the extent that each and every sale of that consignment has to be captured by that system. That will improve in revenue mobilization. One, the VAT. Secondly, the tax stamps issues. So we have so many strategies that we have put in place to ensure that we achieve or even beat the much high target that has been put.
So are you confident we are going to meet it?
Very confident that we are going to meet it.
Now, in other business news, in 2018, Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority (MACRA) commenced the pilot phase of the National Address System. The system is aimed at enhancing convenience of locating essential services through organized postal code and addressing system. Now, MACRA has gone full throttle with the initiative. On Monday, at the validation workshop, officials touted the possible impact of the system to businesses and the economy at large. Daniel Zimba was there and has filed this report.
The National Addressing System is a digital project that aims at giving physical addressing to property and locations. According to MACRA's Director of Postal and E-Commerce Development, Kondwani Kachika, National Addressing System aims to bridge the gap in accessing essential services, particularly in hard-to-reach areas. Kachika says the system will also streamline service delivery and enhance interactions between people and services in communities.
I think there was an obvious gap. You would appreciate that previously all the directions that we were giving were descriptive, informal giving of maps. So there was a challenge, both on the private sector, the businesses, individuals. They saw a gap in terms of how we are giving directions, referencing locations and properties. So with the coming of the National Addressing System, people saw that government of Malawi is now closing that particular gap.
Malawi Institute of Physical Planners President Gilbert Chilinde commends MACRA for the initiative, though noting that the system implementation has been delayed.
And in this time and age, we just need to have appropriate addressing systems because service delivery in the city is easier if the location of the need is known, and if the location of the need is not known, it's difficult to address. For example, I can give you the challenge firefighters meet. They need an address for a location for them to rush to the site, and also the police, they need the address of a location to run to the site of crime, or to a site they need to provide a particular service in a city.
On his part, the Land Economy Chapter Chairperson at the Surveyors Institute of Malawi, Rizwan Omar, says similar systems have already had positive impacts in countries such as South Africa and the United Kingdom, among others. Hence, Malawi is taking the right route to catch up with the global development pace.
The UK works on postal addresses. South Africa has got a mix of two, areas and postal addresses. So you've got a postal system that needs to deliver. The old days needs to deliver mail, which is a big part. These days we send everything by email. Right? However, when it comes to the value of land and how it pertains to our profession, we need to find the property. What is the demarcation of the property? What is it next to? Right? And as I think for our aim and goal here is to not so concentrate so much on the postal codes, but is to easily identify the areas of properties or the land pieces within these areas. We don't have a numbering system that is uniform. What we do have is title deeds. What we do have is plot numbers, but you'll have title deed number 64 next to title deed number 164. There's no uniformity.
And Prince Majika is one of the real estate professionals who attended the workshop.
With the coming in of this system, it will enhance how we do our work. It will enhance the services, not only for the real estate practitioners, but also for other service providers. Let's say banks, they also benefit from it in terms of due diligence, risk assessment. So it is a very important workshop.
Since 2018, MACRA has been conducting the pilot surveys for the national addressing system in Blantyre and Lilongwe districts.
Well, that story has also come to the end of this edition of the program Business Time. It is a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. Thank you for watching, but always remember, if it doesn't make money, then it doesn't make sense. Stay safe and bye for now.